Today I'd like to talk about an effective elementary reading classroom. This is for our literacy class, and I would like to share some ideas with you. Components of literacy start with oral language. Needs to be included even before phonemic awareness. So if you're using the 5 pillars of reading, which are phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension, you do need to make sure that there's a solid oral language developed in your students first. I created a spider web to depict how all 5 of these areas of literacy instruction work together and are intertwined and work together to ultimately achieve comprehension of written materials. So even though comprehension is one of the 5 pillars, that's taught, but as a separate component, but ultimately we're using all 5 of these things to ultimately gain comprehension. Phonemic awareness, starting with oral language that starts developing in children from the time they're born, is the foundation for all other areas of literacy development. They start acquiring their oral language from the adults around them, and it is further developed when they start school. Isolating sounds and making sure students know their letter sounds and how they work together helps them get ready for phonemic awareness development. Then that's a completely auditory process, which letter sounds can be recognized and rearranged to make words. So I use Heggerty in school, and that's a program that's research-based and developed, and our school adopted it. And through the Heggerty practice, students are directed to sound out words, replace sounds in words to make new words, and other activities involved with phonemic awareness. I use this with all students. However, I feel like it really could be used to strengthen skills with students who may need additional supports with phonemic awareness. Phonics would be next, and again, oral language first, and then phonemic awareness, and then phonics, but we're really teaching all of these areas at the same time and to different extents based on who needs the extra practice or who needs a little more of this or that. But focusing on phonics next, it's the practice of knowledge of the alphabet, phonemic awareness activities, listening to stories and informational texts read aloud to them, reading texts out loud and silently, and eventually writing letters, words, messages, and stories. So teachers will be using repeated oral reading where students will practice reading a set text until they can easily read it with expression. This is further supported by the teacher modeling fluent reading for the students through read-alouds, which I'm very much in support of, and I try to do that with my students every single day. Small group instruction, when the teacher reads a text for the students before the students start practicing, also helps them hear how to read it and how to practice expression in the piece. Students will practice simple rhyming words, rhyming word sets to increase their decoding skills. This also helps them be able to spell and write the words more confidently. Also, incorporating rhyming poetry can help with phonics and fluency. It can allow students to identify word families, which increases their recognitions of hundreds of similar words. Developing good phonics skills helps students become good readers and will allow them to look for patterns in words and read texts more smoothly, which ultimately allows for fluency and eventually comprehension of a text. Next, fluency. So the ability to read a text accurately and quickly, recognize words automatically and group words to help gain meaning, read aloud effortlessly and with expression, and read sounds naturally are key indicators in fluency as described by Armbruster et al. So fluency taught well in a classroom setting starts with solid instruction of phonics and working in fluency alongside the phonics instruction for maximum success. Repeated oral reading and teachers modeling fluent reading and students reading a text multiple times until they can read easily and with expression are key methods for teaching fluency. Vocabulary. Oral and reading vocabulary are important parts of literacy. Oral refers to the meaning of words we use while speaking and reading. Vocabulary refers to meanings of words we need to understand in print. We need to know the meaning of the most common words in order to fully comprehend what we are reading. So in a classroom, an example of effective vocabulary instruction by the teacher would be using specific words from a read-aloud book and explaining these words to the students before reading and discussing with the students after the reading. Maximizing read-aloud time using this method, and when steps are followed, the students end up learning how to find the meaning of difficult words in other books they may read in the future. So by using, text clues and things like that. Repeated exposure to new words is how students will effectively learn new vocabulary. So students having the opportunity to use new words in a variety of ways, guided by the teacher, is described as a type of effective vocabulary instruction. Using, seeing, hearing new words in a variety of ways will help the students recognize the words in their future readings as well. The students will be exposed to new vocabulary, use new words in their writing activities, and actively participate in discussions with the teacher and their peers to have a better working understanding of new vocabulary. Finally, comprehension. Some key components of readers comprehending texts include adequate background knowledge, vocabulary related to the text they are reading, being familiar with the text structures and genres, and being able to identify the majority of the words you're reading. So teachers need to build in time for students to read to the teacher and independently and have discussions on what they're reading. Students reacting and responding to reading with writing and drawings is crucial in promoting comprehension. This promotes sharing their comprehension in a way teachers can view and assess and make individualized lessons where necessary. Learning to think while reading includes the previous key components and also includes the students having a mindset that reading is thinking. So teaching students that they're not just reading words on paper, they're just not trying to get through this chunk of words, and actually having them learn to think about what they're reading and talk about it after, and help them understand what they're reading, but also that the goal of reading is to learn new knowledge. That helps the students with their comprehension. So in the end, the 5 essential components of literacy, or the 5 pillars of literacy instruction, is key to guiding our students to be effective readers who comprehend the materials they're reading. Restructuring our classroom curriculum to make sure we are using all of these areas is necessary and will prove to help the students be successful. I've included references, and I've also included a website in the beginning of this for the picture that I used, for the graphic that I used. I found a couple that were really good and kind of helped me to guide what I was going to be talking about and kind of stick in your head. So I hope this is helpful, and thank you.